Astronomer Warren Hart, the Hobby Memorial Library, and the Mayborn Science Theater partners for this great event we do every month. And so thank you, Warren, and we're going to let you take it away.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Good to see or hear that we have a few going to be signing in. And what we're going to be talking about will be for next month's constellations and the primary activities that you can see with just your eyeballs. You don't need binoculars or a telescope. So to start off, however, would like for those who are not familiar with where we have our uh, all of our information here. It's on the library here at Central Texas College, and Cindy Oser here has all of that, and there she's going to show how you can access it even from off campus. So Cindy, let's go ahead and you get them through there.
All right. So you saw it was on our library website. Go down to study guides, go down to astronomy and Mayborn Science Theater. That's where where the general Mayborn Science Theater information is. You can check on shows. It's connected to their website. Lots of fun resources. And this is where we get our night sky calendars, our maps, and a lot more information, astronomy books, astronomy databases, you name it, we've got it on here. So,
Okay, now before you don't click off, if
okay.
you will, it's on there, but if you want to scroll there, right there, stop. There, Cindy put in a countdown calendar, and notice it's now down to 383 days. So we're coming down close to next year for the big event that's planned, we're going to experience here. So thank you, Cindy, for the countdown calendar.
Oh, well, Warren, you're the one who sent it to me.
Okay. You're going to
I can't
blame
take
me for
that
that.
credit.
Okay, I see. I see. All right, let's go ahead and start. And we're today actually, if you look at Wednesday and subtract 7 hours, 7 days from the 29th, today is the 22nd, and we don't need to show the March calendar because all that has on there for today is the fact that we are doing the uh, presentation like you're seeing here now. And also this coming Saturday, which would be the 25th Saturday at 5:30 p.m. There at Central Texas College in the planetarium for an hour, maybe hour plus, because I do stretch it out. And we'll do my presentation of the same constellations and other things, and I can do things there that I cannot do here. So encourage you, if you have time, to come and check it out. So here we go, and then that first row there, that's the end of March, and you can see the different pieces of information on each of the day. And then I'm going to tell you on April the 1st, I can vouch that this is actually a true statement. 373 days until our total solar eclipse. And that is true. It's not an all fools statement there. But anyway, let's look down on the next row, and there starts off on that day. That's Palm Sunday. And then you see here is the moon. And I put on here because it is close in as we would view it here from Earth. Uh, there it's just over 4 degrees from the main star in Leo the Lion called Regulus. Now, 4 degrees. When you go outside or whatever, when you're outside, if you would take whichever arm, your predominant arm and hand that you use, hold it straight out in front of you at full length, okay? Your thumb and little finger, you put them together and you have the middle three, and that across at arm's length is approximately 5 degrees across. So that will be able to help you to find Regulus there from the edge, the rim of the moon, which should be no problem. And you want to do that in the morning. Notice I have 7 o'clock because the sun is coming to for sunrise, and then the sky is going to get so bright, illuminated with the sun, that you wouldn't be able to see it. So there you are on Sunday the 2nd. We go on and we also point out each month the 4 positions or of where the moon happens to be. And you notice this time it's going to be on its full location. Now, just picture in your mind, you're here on Earth, and notice I have 11:35 p.m. So we're on the dark side of Earth. It's turned and we are in the dark side. And so what we have the capability, because we're in the dark side, we can actually look out into the solar system and the universe in our shadow. And so we are using our shadow, and you will find the full moon at that time for there. Okay, on Thursday the 6th, we have the moon. I wanted to go ahead and put it in a couple other places, I believe, for my here, and to show you how fast it moves in the sky for us. As far as that, the moon is the fastest object that we would notice in the sky because it's the closest to us. And it's not quite 3 degrees away from the star Spica or Spica, depending on how you want to pronounce it. That's in the constellation of Virgo. And we will look at the constellation information later as we go through the month here. Now, there's 2 constellations that evening, and the first one is my error. I got that wrong here. It's not Crater the Cup, it's actually Corvus the Crow. And Cindy, in her wisdom, pointed it out, and I got it. And so, Cindy, let's see what Corvus the Crow looks like. Okay, here it is here. It's a very obvious constellation that you can see. There's the 4 black circles, if you will, solid circles. And by the way, uh, you see there to the upper left from the Corvus the Crow area. And what's in the white area or the light area is the area, the spherical area in the sky that the professional astronomers back in the 1930s designated what would be called the area for each of the constellations. And if you know how many constellations there are, why don't you just text us and see if you get the right number. Anyway, if you notice the top 2, which are stars number 3 and 6, if you follow that line to the upper left, you will point at a larger black circle, and then look up to the the upper right of it, and that is in the constellation of Virgo. We're going to get that in more detail, but using Corvus the Crow, which is easy to find, excuse me, then that top two stars there are the little three that will point pretty well almost right directly to Spica and use that. I like pointer systems, and I do that quite often in demonstrating that in the planetarium show because I can have more access to larger areas of the sky to present that to you. Now, each constellation has its picture here, and you see there's all sorts of numbers, 1 through 7. Well, what does that mean? So, Cindy, let's scroll and let's bring up the second page. Every constellation will have either 2 pages or maybe 3. And here on the second page is the information just telling you what those 1 through 7 objects are. Each one is is a star, and there it gives you, if you will, first of all, its address, I would call it, the little Greek letter alpha right there. That's its, where is it left and right? And then the Greek letter D or delta, that tells you where it is up and down away from the equator. And then the next one is how bright is it? Well, we don't say bright, we say its magnitude. And what seems odd, but the larger the positive number, the dimmer it gets. That's just odd, but that's the way it is. So you can see here, if you look at the next line right under that, and the star of Gina Corvi, and it says, and it's in bold print, the magnitude is plus 2.58. That's less than 3. And comparing that with the other 5 stars, this one, Gina, is the brightest star for Corvus the Crow. And then the next one, 154 on the Gina line, the star 3, 154, and it says LY. Well, if you look up in that big paragraph up above, that's telling you how many light years the star is from us. Well, let's take this. It's 154 light years away. So let's take 2023 and let's subtract 154. So let's see, 23 and 54, and that's 29. So that would be 1971, I believe, and another 100 years, 1871. And if I figured it right, so the light that you would see if you go out tonight or any night and find Corvus the Crow and that star, it took 154 years for that light, those photons from the sun to reach you and so you can see it with your eye. That's what that's talking about. And then the last part on there, on that third line still, it says 4.16x. Now, what's that? You look up there in the paragraph there, that tells you how large that star is in comparison to our own sun. And to make it easy, our sun is 1.0. So that's the reference point. Well, let's look at this. What does it say for it here? It's 4.16. Oh, it's 4 an almost 0.16 times larger in diameter than our sun. That's the information that you get there. And so all of that, also I've put in, you notice that below the paragraph and before the row for number 1, I put in there for you the earliest viewing date that when you are going to get rising in the night sky, you will see on April the 2nd, you would begin to see the first part of Corvus the Crow. As it continues to rise in the east, then you see in between stars 4 and 5 is the midpoint of the constellation, and that's April the 6th. And then finally, after number 7 for Kras, that's the latest viewing date, and that's when it's all the way up, and also it's going on down. And that midpoint date is when the Corvus the Crow is due south of us, and we have it there. Now, going on down, asterisms. An asterism is just a word for the astronomers, and it describes something that somebody in days, months, years, centuries past said, hey, that looks like a sail to me. And so they just call it that. And asterisms mean that what is put there is the name of uh, the connecting the dots of those stars, but it is not the name of any of the constellations. Now, have you ever looked at any other asterisms? Well, I'm sure you have. How about the Big Dipper? How about in the wintertime, Orion, and you see the belt of Orion? Both of those are asterisms. So that's it. Then to help you, if you want to begin to learn more and more of the sky, I give you the bordering constellations for the constellation, in this case, Corvus the Crow, and I start at the 12 o'clock northern position. And in this case, for Corvus, there's only 3 constellations. So if you so desired, you want to learn more, you would then look up Virgo, Crater, and Hydra, get that information off of the constellation section there for the library's astronomy page, and get that. And that's how you begin to expand and learn more and more of the sky. And let me emphasize strongly, do not let the sky intimidate you. Take your time. If all you want to look at is Corvus, that's fine. You set your own schedule. And if you want to add other constellations, that's fine. But just do it as you feel comfortable and at the speed you want to do. And then there's some other interesting information that's on down there. And then just to give a point for anybody that's not here where we are in Texas, to view all of the constellation Corvus. So you have to be able to see the entire area of Corvus. You have to be above or be at least 64 and 48 degrees north, which is way north of us, and clear down to the South Pole. So it's a pretty good area there that you should be able to. But if you're up in northern Canada and up in northern Alaska, you're not going to see all of the constellation. And that's all these pieces of information means. So Cindy, let's go back to the calendar. And by the way, as I've been talking, if anybody has a question or a comment, chat that in, and then I'm comfortable whenever you ask that, and I'm told you've done that. We'll take your question, your comment right then and discuss it and press on from there. So the other constellation that same Thursday night is Crux, the cross. So let's go there, Cindy. And here we go. Good. There's Crux. And you see the same information, but I do have, because of where Crux is, you see that purple line, part circle there. And if you read it, it says it is CTC Planetarium's Southern Horizon. So what does that mean? That means when you are here in this area and you look to the south and you're looking and you want to find Crux there, the cross, and you can in April. That's why it's up. It's in the April calendar. But notice here, you will only see star 1 and star 4. That's all you will see. 2, 3, 5, and 6 there are not available. Well, no, not 6. That's A and B. And those are two items there that are listed. Let's scroll back down on Crux because there's some additional information on Crux we didn't have on there. Now you notice, stop right here. Here is the second page, but what's missing is the southern horizon. And I do that so that if somebody from not in this area, uh, I don't want to clutter up the page for them with where you have to be here to see. So go ahead and scroll down to page, then in this case, page 3. And there we go. Okay, there's all that information. Same thing what we had on the other one. However, I've added some additional information. You notice star number 3, Acrux, and it has CNS, and it's all in a sky blue color. Well, if you go down to below the stars there and you see it says that Acrux and Gacrux are both 2 of the 58 celestial navigation stars. Well, the reason I put these in is because in the Air Force, I was a navigator, and I just want to get that information in there for you. So 3 and 4. And then there's the rest of all of that, the bordering constellation of information there. But notice here also, remember we had an A and a B. And you see in the list, there is A, it says it's the name of it is a coal sack, like a sack of coal. And it also has the name Caldwell. That's the astronomer who found that item in the sky, and it's a nebula. And so we put on there you go on across, there's its address, how far away is it? This one is 490 years away. Now, instead of how large it, or how far the size of it in comparison with our sun, rather than that, because it is so large and far away, it's in light years in diameter. It's 53.4 light years in diameter on there. And so there you see, and it's also a dark nebula. Nebula is Latin for cloud, and it can be like this. With a cloud, it can be a dark cloud. And so it's dark enough maybe that it's blocking out what we can see on beyond there. And then B, the jewel box, there's the other, and we have that information, and the same thing is listed for us. Okay, let's go back up to the calendar, Cindy, and let's press on. And the other thing I'm giving to you, notice also on Thursday the 6th, each night that we have constellations, I will give you the time of sunset for that evening. So that's a little bit more of information I give you. Okay, the next day on Friday the 7th is Good Friday. And also this is the constellation Musca the Fly. And you notice the viewing period, I say it's 7:54. Well, it's about the same time as on Thursday. It's that quick. So let's look at Musca anyway. And we're going to see some interesting information on this. There it is right there. Now, look right above the white area, and you see up there, the first word just up there is crux. Oh, that was our cross that we saw. And there, up there, is the southern horizon. So that means we cannot see any of Musca the fly. Well, Warren, why did you put that in? Well, I put it in because if we scroll down to the second page, Cindy, we will see the same thing without the horizon. Because there may be somebody that's either further north or further south. If they need to be further south of us so they can see it, and I didn't want them to have to reference for us here. Scroll on down to the third page, if you would, Cindy. There it is. Pretty well the same format. You have all of that that's on there. And you see down here below on the bordering constellations, there's 6 bordering constellations. Oh, okay. And there they are. And then there's the other information. And to view all of it, you have to be at least 14 degrees, 19 minutes north of the equator. Well, that's 17 degrees south of us. So we will not see anything of Musca. But it's there in case someone is interested and also has the opportunity to view it. Let's go back to the calendar. Go. You have a
Lauren,
question?
yes, I do. Why did they say the terms of one of the 11 constellations invented by Peter
Oh,
Durst Kaiser? Why did they
okay.
use the word invented?
Okay. During those years, 1595, 97, I'm trying to remember, I think it's the first, both of them were astronomers that went down below the equator, and because primarily the astronomy knowledge was from Europe and China to the north, and so in a way that part, the southern, hadn't been mapped out. So they were given permission to create constellations for the southern hemisphere.
Oh, okay.
Good
Cool.
question. And
Cool.
there they are. And by the way, as we go on down through there, and let's see which one it is. Apis, chameleon, Doradocrus, Hydrus, Indus, lens. The only insect in the sky is in one of those constellations there. I wonder which one that might be. Well, let's see in that. What would you think? What's the name? Scroll up to the top of the page, if you would, Cindy. Keep
This
going.
page or all the way?
Keep going. And what is at the very top? What's the name of this constellation? Keep going. What is it?
They'll fly.
And
Let's go.
that's the only insect in the sky. There you are. Okay, let's go back to the calendar. And we're ready just for reference, not this Saturday, but next Saturday, or in 2 Saturdays, excuse me, we will be 12 months, 1 year from the solar eclipse we're going to have. So you're going to see that as we progress down. Okay, speeding up, there's Easter. There's a little bit of information I put on there because people ask, how in the world do you come up when Easter is? And there's the way you do it, and you notice it's reflected in a couple of things in astronomy. First of all, you have to know what day is the March equinox. We just had it 2 days ago. Okay, the equinox. So there's that date. Then after that date, on the 20th, you keep going until you find the first full moon. Oh, now we got that. It happens to be on the 2nd, if I believe. And then after that, you go to the following Sunday that follows it. And now Easter is on the 9th in April. That's how you find it, using some information from astronomy. Okay, looking on the 10th, the moon is speeding through and it's already into Scorpius, the scorpion. And notice it's barely 2 degrees away from the giant red star Antares. In fact, Antares will be the largest star you will see in the sky with your not using binoculars or a telescope. We also have another constellation, Coma Berenices. And let's go to there. And Coma Berenices is unique. And here we have, notice on it, we can see everything because there's our latitude just at the top of it. So that latitude in the sky is directly over us. And so this one is easy to see, Bootes. And then also in reference, there's the Tropic of Cancer, which in June is the furthest north the sun seems to rise in the sky north of the equator. So there we have Tropic of Cancer. And let's scroll on down. There's no other reference that we need. So there's that. And let's get down here into this. There is our same, pretty well, our information, if you will. Now, there's a couple of things. One is that down in interesting information that the North Galactic Pole is in that constellation, and that's our Milky Way North Pole. That's what that is. And then you have those other pieces of information. I noticed I did not put in, I should have in the interesting information, this is the only constellation that is named after a real live person. And this is her hair. That's what that means. So if you'll scroll back up to the top page, or keep on going all the way up to the full top page, and keep going to the top. Okay, Berenice's hair. And this was Daddy, who happened to be an emperor or whatever he was. He he chose that to remember her, her hair was going to be one of the names of one of the constellations. And everybody said, yes, sir, because he was standing there with his sword, I guess, or something to encourage them to agree. Okay, let's go back to the calendar. And where are we in the calendar? There we were on Monday the 10th. We go on there. I'm going to give you another one that you can find is the planet Venus. Now that should be easy to find. It's going to be very bright. Now, even though I have it in at 9 in the morning, that you would be able to see it early in the morning. And prior to that, it wouldn't be that close, but it's next to in Taurus the Bull, the Pleiades or the Pleiades out there, which is a nebula, a cluster of stars, actually, a cluster that you can see without binoculars or a telescope. And so from it, then you should be able to see Venus. Let's go on the Thursday the 13th. Our moon has moved from the full to our third quarter. It's on its way toward starting the series of phases again for the new. Constellation Centaurus. This is a big one here for us, so let's look at Centaurus. Okay, Centaurus the Centaur. And let's see what we have. Okay, there in the upper left of it is the blue line of the ecliptic. That's the path of the sun and the planets in the sky and the moon. On down, Tropic of Capricorn, which is the southern tropical line for us. And so in the winter, on the winter solstice, 21st, 20th, 21st, that's how far south the sun seems to be as it travels to the south. Now we look, there's our area for Centaurus, a lot of stars, because as you can kind of tell to the left of it, Lupus, and then to the right of it down Vela, you begin to see a whole bunch of little black, little dots and big black, larger one. You're looking directly in through our galaxy, our Milky Way. That's why there's so many stars you're going to see in the sky. And then there is our southern, uh, if you will, horizon. Now, I failed to point out, but it's right here. Notice Centaur, and notice in between his legs and down underneath his belly, there is Crux right there. Now, I failed to mention to you, Crux is actually the smallest area in the sky. And so it's the 89th largest constellation in the sky as far as size, but because of those four stars there, it is the brightest constellation in the sky. So it's the first and the last, Crux. But anyway, we're here on Centaurus, but you get an idea of where we talking about. There's Centaurus, below it is Crux, below that was Musca. We're going up the line here as we go. There's all of those. Now, if you will notice stars 21, 27, and up above the top of its head, there's 23. Well, those are the navigation stars. But anyway, let's scroll down, Cindy, and go on past this one and let's go to, and it's a long one we have. And there's the different pieces of information. And scroll on down a little bit, if you will. And there you go, that's good. So 21 is Hadar. That one was up in the head, or pardon me, uh, it's Beta Centauri. And Menkent is Theta. Menkent is the one up in the head. But Hadar, Beta, is one of the feet of the centaur. And then down at 27, Rigel Kentaurus is Alpha Centauri, and that's the other foot of the front foot of the centaur. And notice on Rigel Kent, go on over there, there's three things that are significant about it. It is the brightest star of, right here, of Centaurus. It's also the closest. And notice I add on that, of all the stars you can see without binoculars or telescope, you can see Rigel Kent. If you go, you're going to have to go south, drive down to Brownsville or something like that to see it. And it's the closest next star to us after our own sun. So we are having enough of a problem trying to travel from Earth beyond the moon to the next capable planet we could go to, and the only other one we can go to is Mars. Mercury is too close to the sun. There's virtually no atmosphere, and you would have problems with the radiation from the sun. The next one is Venus, which is the closest one to the same size as us. But unfortunately, for many years, it was always thought that Venus would be great because it's almost the same size. So that would mean the same gravity, etc. on there. But when we sent some probes there, we had our hopes and plans dashed to the ground. Three things Venus has concerning it that rules out any human being going there. First is the atmosphere of Venus is excessive. It's more than 3 to 4 times the gravity of here on Earth. So your suit would crush you. It will crush the spaceship. It's also the atmosphere is with a sulfur uh, dioxide and everything is all sulfur. Sulfur dioxide is also uh, as, sulfuric acid. So as soon as the spaceship gets into that atmosphere, it's going to start corroding. Guess what's going to happen to your spacesuit suit? The same thing. And the third thing is the temperature is beyond any capability of having a spacesuit that could satisfy that. It's, from what I remember, is something like 400 to 500 degrees. So Venus is out, unfortunately, and it's only Mars, and it's going to take 3.5 years round trip to Mars. So what does that mean? To get human beings to go to Mars and back, every human being, they must have on board enough fuel for the spaceship to leave Earth and go to Mars and come back and never shut down. We have to have enough fuel. We have to have enough oxygen. We have to have enough food, and we have to have enough water. There is no spaceship that we have yet that would have the capacity for even only one person to go for 3.5 years with fuel, uh, food, water, and oxygen. So until we get that capability, nobody's going to Mars. Okay? And there, if you scroll to the bottom of the page on it, same thing is on there, giving you the information that we have on it. Okay? Cindy, let's go back, if you will, to the calendar, and I'll try to speed up for us. And there was Centaur, the equation of time, that is one that is uh, following along with the actual sun in the sky. And where is it in relation to the time that we have on our phones, our watches, our clocks, and see if it's the same, looks like the same time. And this time on Saturday the 15th, they both sync up there. Here is the moon on the 15th. It is in its closest position to Earth in relation to it for this one orbit time period here. And there you get that information. Let's go down to the next row. On the 16th, the moon is still going. And there you have, the moon is going to go, and it's going to go by the planet Saturn. So you got that. And let's go next on the 18th, Canis Venatici, the hunting dogs. And I'll speed up for us. So go ahead, Cindy, for Canis
Oh,
Venatici.
sorry.
That's all right. And
You got
notice
too far
all,
ahead of me.
yeah, and notice how much there is there for the hunting dogs. Well, I don't know if they are puppies or what, and there's only two dogs, one and two, or what. Or that's the bone they like to chew on, or whatever. But anyway, that's it. Now, if you notice a new thing I put up there at the top, because Canis Venatici is further north, look below it, and there was the lady's hair, Coma Berenices. So you see we've gone north, and up at the north when you're looking, that is our horizon there at the planetarium. That's different than our southern horizon. What that means is because where we live here, we can see everything there above that northern horizon every night of the year. What's inside that northern horizon circle, none of those go below our horizon. So everything in there is Polaris, of course, and there is part of the Big Dipper and different other things. That's all what that means. Then there's our latitude, and then there's the Tropic of Cancer as you scroll on down. There, Cindy, there's a Cancer. You scroll on down to the next page, and all of those others taken off. And it's just the Tropic of Cancer. Real quickly, there's the page, the third page for us. Not very much, since we only have up at the top up there the two stars, and there's the asteroid, all the other information, as you can see. And I tried to explain for you there in the purple, the northern circumpolar spherical area, what you can see north of the horizon. Okay, or above the horizon. Okay, let's go on back to the calendar and get on. And we're going to keep going. And we have the sun as it travels. I give that information. It's in Aries, the Ram. Also, the planet Venus, we can see it. It's in relation there to Aldebaran, which is the eye of the bull of Taurus the bull. And also that evening, the moon is at its new moon position, which means you can't see it because we're looking at the dark side of the moon. The moon is now between us and the sun. Let's go to the next one. Virgo on the 30th, the 20th. And this happens to be our last constellation. Here's Virgo. Look above it. There's Comb Berenices. There's the Hare. Look down below it. Right there, there's Corvus the Crow that I accidentally didn't have in there. Should be. But notice the top two stars of Corvus the Crow, those two black dots, draw the line and you go right to star number 10, which is Spica or Spica that you have in there. And also I've included, there is the ecliptic path, and the ecliptic path will go up above the equator and goes down and crosses the equator to go south. And here is the crossing point. So we have just crossed, and as far as the equinox, so we're up at the highest. We're going to be going, we've started in spring. In June, we're going to be at the highest to the north for the solstice. And then we come in August there, or September. Then we have the equinox, and it starts to the south. So there's that. Scroll down, if you would, please, Cindy, on the second page. There's the whole thing. There's only one navigation star, and that's Spica itself. There's a lot of information there that I put on it. So you can read that as far there. So let's press on, and I'll make it here real quick. Scroll. There was Virgo. The moon is close to, has actually gotten closer to the Pleiades. Scroll down. The next line. The moon continues. It's going to go by Venus. And then we have on the 24th, 350 days to the solar eclipse. Then the moon continues to travel. It's going to go by Mars. Busy. On the Wednesday, the 26th, we have the moon twice. It's going to go by Castor, the star in Gemini, the twins, and then dink, in just a little bit. See there in 5 hours, it's going to be going by Pollux, the other star, main star in Gemini. There's also next month on Wednesday, the 26th, is our next presentation. We're going to talking about in May, and look down there. We're going to be talking about 9.5 constellations. Now, how do you do a half? You cut them apart? Well, come and find out next week. And let's go on. The moon has gone past the new moon point. It's now coming around to the first quarter on Friday the 28th. It's now farthest from us in the orbit, this next orbit. And then we have again the moon on the 29th, and it's going to be going past in Leo the lion, Regulus the star. And then that evening, on that date, is when I will do my May presentation over in the planetarium. Scroll on down, last line. Notice the 30th, May the 1st, 2nd, 3rd. Nothing significant. Stay inside. No, go outside. Take all your papers and copy all of them and have fun with it. And then the moon there we're going to have, and we'll see that next month. So, Cindy, I think we got 5 minutes left.
I have a question.
Yes,
Do you want to
ma'am.
explain what the extreme stars are that you had up
Oh,
as well?
well, I can. What I've done, I've gone through each of the 7 constellations that you saw as we went through, took the page, and on each one of them, on its third page, the info, I've looked for, notice the upper left there in the first box, the apparent visual magnitude, it's VMAG. I want to see which one in that constellation. Let's take Canis Venatici. Which star is the dimmest? Well, it's that one there, Beta Canum Venaticorum, and there's its number. And which star in there is the brightest? The next is which of it is the closest, the farthest, the smallest, the largest. And then did that on all 7 constellations. Then I go back and I say, well, let's get the 6 brightest stars or whatever extreme stars for the whole month. And notice down there at the bottom, that's what I've done. And all of those that are in the gray area, I've indicated. And there we have for the month of April, there you see the dimmest, brightest, closest, farthest, smallest, largest. And eventually, probably in December, I will have a third line for the year.
Well, and that is actually on the astronomy website under extreme stars.
Okay,
So,
that's each month that we have.
yeah, yeah.
And I've
Okay.
got us with 3 minutes to go. Did anybody sign anything in?
Liz, any questions?
No, we don't have any questions.
Okay,
Okay. All righty. Well, as always, it's amazing what you cover each month. And I definitely am now a stargazer at night.
very
Every time I
good.
go out, I look up, put out the garbage, look up, and you'd be surprised in the city of Killeen how many we can see. So,
I'm
if you
glad
go,
you put them in that order that you went out, put out the garbage, and then looked up in the sky rather than you went out, looked in the sky, and then put the garbage. Wait a minute, you including stars in the garbage? No,
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 no.
no, 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 no.
No,
Okay,
it's not the way I did it.
no,
Before
no.
we before we go, I want to remind everybody, and you can also find our events from our webpage, hitting events. Oops, wrong events. Okay. Um, so we still are going with our military history series on April the 19th at 3:30, not at noon. We're going to have a virtual event about the industrial mobilization during World War II of aircraft. So that should be really interesting. Then we're going to be showing our pre-recorded life stories. We met with so many people in our community, and we've got like I think 4 or 5 that allowed us to record their story, and we will be showing it both on Facebook and on our YouTube page. So that will be coming up. Also, if you ever wanted to know what it was like owning a horse, now you can without actually going to get a horse. Margaret Dawson from Texas A&M will be doing a virtual event on horse ownership, the pros and the cons. So definitely tune in for that. That will also be on Facebook and eventually on our YouTube. If you are interested in joining the welding competition, make sure to bring your welding item either today, we're open until 7:30, or early tomorrow morning, because we're going to be judging at noon tomorrow. So we've
Okay,
already got some really cool um things. We actually have behind me,
show them
there's a,
your dinosaur over there.
yeah, my dinosaur is one of them. So make sure you enter that. Also, one other thing I wanted to talk about, we are going to be every Tuesday we have a different craft that we put out, and we leave the craft up for a week. So if you're feeling crafty during the week, then definitely stop by the library and just come make a craft with us. It's a lot of fun. Also, today we have a Writers Guild meeting. So if you're creative in any way, either just show up at the library at 4:30 or call us at 254-526-1621, and we'll give you information on joining it. You don't need to be a writer to be in the Writers Guild. It's all creative people. So if you do art, music, you do gaming, you're just creative in your mind, then definitely show up for our Writers Guild. Okay. All right. So Warren, thank you once again for all of your knowledge. We need to bottle it all up and just get this vast knowledge of the vast universe. And I thought it was interesting that you mentioned you were a navigator during your time in the military. So
Yep.
that's why you know so much.
Yeah. It was always funny when we would travel across the Pacific that as we initially you'd start out and the pilot and the co-pilot would say, tell me, the navigator, you are dead weight. We don't need you at all. Okay. So as we traveled on out and then we got beyond the limit of receiving the signals from the different things for his compass and all of that other, then it was relying on me. Hey, Nav, are you hot? Are you cold? Are you thirsty? Are you hungry? You need anything? You need a massage or what, Oh, and then as soon as we got close to where we were going, he began to pick up signals. Okay, I'm dead weight again.
So is that your veteran story?
Well, that's one of them. I can give you another, but not now. But I don't mean it's bad or anything. But I can tell you that one time I got almost close enough to look down and wave at Santa Claus at the North Pole. And that's a
You are
different
an
story.
amazing navigator then.
Yeah. And we weren't supposed to be there waving at Santa Claus. He
Well,
was
wasn't that the
reporting us.
navigator's job?
Yeah. Well, we
Oh,
had two navigators on board,
that's
and I
amazing. So
was
y'all
already,
both dead weight, huh?
yeah, I was also already taking my nap, and then I got awakened because something had come up and had to
Well,
figure out what was wrong.
well, you're amazing, and we really truly appreciate you coming and doing this with us every month. So,
Well, it's a lot of fun.
well, I'm
I
glad you
enjoy it.
enjoy it. We enjoy listening to all the amazing stuff, just looking up in the sky.
There you
So,
go.
all right, guys. Well, it's getting warmer, so just go back out and hurry up and enjoy the warmer weather today because we never know if like next week it's going to be 10 degrees. So it's all Texas.
Yeah, not until after Easter.
Okay. All righty. Well, so we will see you later and thank you, Alyssa, and just take us out.